What's up, everyone? I'm going to attempt to do a video recap to go along with the draft recap I just posted on the league page. I say attempt because the volume on my uh, computer, the microphone's a little weird, so worst case scenario, you just get to look at my pretty face for a couple minutes. Uh, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through each team, talk about their positional strengths, their weaknesses, best pick, worst pick, and an X factor for their team. Before we get into that, let's just go down the power rankings. I got Dickey at number one. Got to beat the champ to be the champ. Followed by Lolly, Brett, Stas, Ishak, Owen, and Case, Jake, myself, Beaver, and Q, Miles, Ziegel, Matt, and Marty. But again, everyone had a pretty strong draft. We got a lot of good teams out here. Everyone's got a chance. Hope springs eternal. All right, so let's get to it then. Starting off with last year's champ, Adam. Strengths here, quarterback. I mean, Cam Newton, Matt Ryan. That's a solid 1-2 punches you're going to get. And the running backs, Lamar Miller and Devonta Freeman. Those are two top backs. The weakness here is wide receiver, and I kind of just had to put something here. I mean, Odell's great. I'm not so sold on Golden Tate being a big beneficiary of Calvin being out. In fact, I think he's going to get a lot of double coverage now, and I'm not so sure it's going to be a good thing. So I'm not so sold on him being a real wide receiver one or even two. And Tyler Lockett is a little bit of an unknown. He had a strong end of last season, but again, I had to choose a weakness, so I chose wide receiver. Best pick was T.J. Yeldon. I think people are overblowing them bringing in Chris Ivory. I think Yeldon's young, he's talented, and it's going to be more balanced offense this year, and Yeldon's going to be a beneficiary. Worst pick, Golden Tate. I just think he again, isn't going to have as big a year as people think with Calvin out of the picture, so I think it was a little bit of a reach there. And the X factor is Matt Ryan. I mean, he fell down in ESPN's rankings, but he's still talented. He's still got Julio Jones. They brought in Mohamed Sanu, so if Matt Ryan could play up to that quarterback one potential, then Adams going to be there at the end of the year, just like he was last year. All right, moving on to Q&A. Kiata and Beaver. And it's really a testament to John to Q that this team actually has an identity now. They're not just the piss boy team that Beaver puts up. They actually have an identity. So good job bringing in new management there, Beav. Their identity is, I mean, you look at their team and it's this wide receiving core. DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best in the league. Demarius Thomas, one of the most talented in the league. Someone's going to get him the ball. Kelvin Benjamin, huge, coming off an ACL. Or Achilles or where the hell sidelined him last year, but you know that he's going to look to pick up where he left off after his rookie year, and Brandon Cooks too. I mean, they have three wide receiver ones there with Demarius, Hopkins, and Cooks, and Benjamin's borderline wide receiver ones. That's an incredibly deep wide receiving core. Weakness is quarterback. Mariota should have a good second year, but Joe Flacco is just not a good fantasy quarterback. And their worst pick is Tyler Eifert, just too early for tight end that's going to miss significant time in my book. And the X factor is Demarius Thomas. He is talented, but who will get him the ball? And Isaiah Crowell, I think that could have been a very good value pick for them as well. I think that the Browns are going to have to lean on that running game a lot to keep RG3 healthy, and I think Crowell is going to get most of the looks. I mean, Duke Johnson is going to get the catch, the receptions, but I think Crowell is going to have a decent year running the ball for them. Nice job, Q. Next up, we got Euro Trippin, Matt and Marty. And their strength, I mean, it's pretty obvious, is quarterback. They went quarterback first two rounds, which I don't dislike. I think people kind of devalued quarterbacks a lot more than I thought they would with the positional change. But, I mean, Roethlisberger and Brady, when he gets back, it's going to be a great keeper for them. He'll be there when it matters. And Kirk Cousins, too. They got the depth, so they'll be able to trade that away to someone if someone needs a quarterback sometime down the road. And tight ends, too. I mean, Reed and Barnage they kept, so that's an obvious strength for them. Their weakness is at running back. Again, Latavius Murray is decent. D'Angelo Williams, we'll see what happens, but Le'Veon Bell's going to come back, so he's not really going to be a starter. And Arian Foster, I just don't trust. Best pick was Brady at number 2. Going to be a good keeper, going to be a stud, and Kirk Cousins as well. He should have a good year. I'm kicking myself for not taking him. Worst pick was Arian Foster, just too high for a guy that's likely to get hurt, and I just don't know how much he's got left in the tank. But the X factor could also be Arian Foster if he's healthy. I could be eating my words. And Randall Cobb. I think I'm not so sold on Jordy being back at 200%. I think Cobb could come back from having a down season, and he won't be as the defense won't be able to focus on him as much with Jordy on the field as well. And I think he actually might take a big step back in the right direction this year. He's got the talent. All right, moving along, we got Lally, and as usual, Lally did his research and came up with a very strong team. His strengths are quarterback. I mean, Luck and Palmer, that rivals Cam and Ryan as maybe the top quarterback duo in this league, and his wide receivers as well. I mean, AJ Green and Brandon Marshall are 2 legit wide receiver ones. And he's got depth too. Crabtree, Sterling Shepard, Devontae Parker, those are all good boys in the PPR league. Weakness, if I had to choose one, would be running back, and I really don't even dislike his running backs that much. I think Matt Forte is actually going to have a big year. You know, Ryan Fitzpatrick's a smart quarterback, went to Harvard. This is what a Harvard ball looks like. And smart quarterbacks throw the ball to Matt Forte. So I think he's going to get that reception total back up to where it was near 2 years ago when he set the record. So I really like the Matt Forte pick, actually, but Frank Gore is just not sexy, so I had to pick a weakness, so I chose running back. Best pick was Luck. I was very surprised that Luck was there. He's going to have a bounce-back year. It's almost a lock. Luck's a lock for a bounce-back year. See what I did there? In the second round, I did not think he was going to fall that far. The worst pick was Sproles, but again, you're talking about Darren Sproles in the PPR league, and if your worst pick's in the 13th round, then you did something right. And the X factors here are Matt Forte. Again, if he could stay healthy and get that, I think he'll get that reception total back up, work with Fitzpatrick. I think he's going to have a big year. And Sterling Shepard, if he could be that true number 2 for the Giants, he's in line for a big year as well. So, nice job, Tommy. Next up, Dick's out for Harambe. We got Owen and Case. And their strength that pops right out at you when you look at their roster is obviously at running back. I mean, Adrian Peterson's going to give you is one of the best in the league still. He's not going to slow down just because he's over 30 now. It's just not how he works. And I think Shady McCoy is in line for a bounce-back year. If he could stay healthy, he's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's going to run well. He's going to be shifty, Shady McCoy. So I really like that running back duo that they put together there. Their weaknesses are at wide receiver. Just not sold on Jeremy Maclin. I really don't like that Kansas City passing game very much, and Dante Moncrief. There's just too many question marks out of this wide receiving core for me to put too much faith in it. But again, wide receivers deep, so it's not. They could find someone throughout the season. Worst pick was Jeremy Maclin. I just don't like him. Best pick, Matt Stafford. I think he's a gunslinger. He's going to throw the ball. He's going to get his points. So I think that Stafford was a good pick there. And the X factor is Shady. Can he stay healthy? If he stays healthy, him and AP are going to put up a lot of points out of those running back spots for this team. Moving along, we got the Jale Peppadicks. We got Brady Boy, and the strength here, I mean, that really jumps out at you is their wide receivers, Antonio, Julian, and Landry. In a PPR league, that's going to be an easy. You pencil them in for 70 points a week. So that's going to be a big boost for Brady there. His weakness, I'd say, is running back. I don't love Danny Woodhead even in this PPR league. In fact, I got Danny Woodhead as Brett's worst pick. I think he reached a little too high. I understand he gets the points, but with Keenan Allen back, I just think that, and I think Melvin Gordon's gonna be more of a bell cow this year. I don't see that Woodhead reproducing what he did last year. And Rashad Jennings, I just would stay away from that Giants running back situation entirely. But you're gonna have a weak spot somewhere, and this team, the running backs are just not as strong as the other very strong positions. Best pick, Emmanuel Sanders. He's talented, just like Demarius. Someone's gonna get him the ball. He's gonna get his points, and as the flex, as Brett's fourth wide receiver, he's not relying on him too much. So I think that was a very good pick there. Good risk reward for Brett. Worst pick again, Woodhead. I just think it was too early. I don't think he was reproducing last year. And the X factor is going to be Derek Carr. Can he continue to develop? If he can, and Brett has two legit quarterbacks, then this team is going to put up a lot of points on a weekly basis. Next up, we got Tevin Coleman. Is that how you say it? It's like Tega Woods, like Tevin Coleman. That's what I figured it was. I don't know. The strength here is wide receiver. You got Dez. Yeah, Dez is hurt by Romo going down, obviously, but someone's going to get him the ball. So he'll have a strong year, I think. And T.Y. Hilton's a number one and T.Y. is a number one when he's got Andrew Luck on the field. So so their strength is their wide receivers. Their weaknesses at running back, and maybe it's just because I got burned last year in the Chip Kelly offense, but I just don't trust it. I don't think Hyde, there's no one to throw the ball out there in San Francisco. Teams are going to stack the box against Carlos Hyde. And I just think between not having a real passing game and Chip Kelly's offense, I just don't really trust Carlos Hyde to produce that much this year. But we'll see. And Melvin Gordon I actually like. I think he's in line for a big year. He's actually my X factor for their team. I think he'll find pay dirt, and he'll take a big step in his second year. So worst pick Hyde, best pick Philly Rivers. I think that's going to be a good value, potentially even a keeper in the third round there. Again, quarterbacks fell a little more than I thought they would be, so you'd still start two of them, and a good quarterback's pretty much like a wide receiver one or a running back one. So not really sure why quarterbacks fell as much as they did, but they did, and I think Phil Rivers was a very good pick. Next up, Netflix and chill, Stasio, and tough break for Stas with Romo going down, but he'll manage, I'm sure. The strength here is obviously, you got three of the best running backs in the league on one team. Gurley and Johnson were keepers, so all Stas really had to do is not fall asleep at the wheel. And he didn't. He took Eddie Lacy. We'll get back to Eddie Lacy in a moment, that selection. But that's clearly a huge strength this team is running back. The weakness is at quarterback. He has Aaron Rodgers, so it's hard to really call it a weakness. But just because he doesn't really have a second quarterback right now for most of the season, that's going to be tough. Best pick, Dwayne Allen. I really like him out there with Luck healthy. Allen's very talented, physically talented tight end, and with Colby Fleener out of the picture, I think he's in line for a big year. Worst pick, I got Eddie Lacy, and it's actually funny because I like Eddie Lacy, and I actually thought he was a very good pick at this position. But it's just I think that Stas should have probably gone with a wide receiver one. You had guys like Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Cooks out there as well. This team lacks a true wide receiver one, even with Eric Decker, who's good but not great. So again, I think this team could have just been a little more well balanced if he'd taken a wide receiver instead of Lacy. But you can't hate on Lacy. They say he's slimmer now and he's refocused, and if he is, then Stas to start all three of those guys, Gurley, Johnston, and Lacy every week, and get a lot of points out of him. So it was his worst pick in quotes, but it really wasn't a bad pick. And the X factor is going to be Marvin Jones. What does he look like in that Detroit offense? Are they going to lean on him? I think he's going to get a lot of one-on-one. He's a big guy, talented, so I think that he could be an X factor there if he could produce. Moving right along, we got Miles' chosen ones. Strength here is going to be running back as soon as Le'Veon gets back. Le'Veon's also a great pick in terms of being a keeper for next year, but you got Mark Ingram, Le'Veon Bell, and even Ryan Matthews, I think, is going to have a big year this year with DeMarco out of the picture. I think he's in line for a pretty good year if he could stay healthy. So the strength is running back. The weakness is quarterback. Dalton's a decent mid-tier quarterback, and I'm just not sold on Teddy Bridgewater at all as long as AP's around. So the weakness is quarterback. Best picks, Le'Veon Bell. Again, I really like that. He'll be a keeper. He'll be back after 3 weeks. And Ryan Matthews, too, I thought was a great value when he got him. Worst pick, Kelsey. Just don't like taking a tight end that early, but again, when we get to my team, you'll see that I don't even really have a tight end potentially. So there you go. You can go too far in that direction too. And Gostkowski, that's obviously a terrible pick, but whatever. Miles got his boy. The X factor's going to be Jordy Nelson, Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be back to the wide receiver he was? It's a big risk to take, especially in a first-round pick, but it could end up paying dividends, or it could end up really hurting Miles. So we'll see how that plays out. Next up, we got Ishak. Don't stop the Eliv. I just butchered that. All right, the strength. I mean, it's obvious. It jumps out at you when you look at his roster. This is wide receivers. You got Julio, Alshon, and Sammy. I mean, that's rivaling Brett in terms of best wide receiving core in the league, right there. Clear strength. Weakness, and again, this is just in my mind, is his running backs. I don't really like C.J. Anderson. He burned me last year. And you know, I don't really think that they have anyone to throw the ball, and teams are going to stack the box. I just don't think he's talented enough. I think he's being overvalued by ESPN people and Ishak as well. And Thomas Rawls, depends on who you ask. He's either going to set the world on fire, or he's going to split time with Christine Michael. So it's really kind of an unknown there. So we'll see what happens with that. Either his running backs could end up not being a weakness at all. But going into the season, I have it pegged as a weakness. Best picks, I really like the Alshon Jeffrey pick. I think he fell further than he should have. I think it was a great pick. And Zach Ertz, too. That's when you take a tight end, and that's a valuable tight end, and he got him late, and that was a very good draft strategy. The worst pick I have is C.J. Anderson. I think it was a reach. People could disagree with me. And he's also the X factor, because if he could be what people think he is, well, then it wasn't a reach, and Shaq is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Anderson and Rawls. Both of them. They'll get the touches, so if they can produce, then Shaq's in good shape. All right, coming around the home stretch, we got Jake going in heavy. Strength here is quarterback, Breeze and Jameis. Love that combo. Breeze and Jameis, great combo. Tight ends, Gronk and Olsen. I mean, that's obvious right there. Those are two of the best in the league. The weakness here I see is running back. John Stewart was Jake's worst pick. It was too high. I know he's the number one in that offense, but you just can't really rely on him. And so he went too high with that. And DeMarco is kind of an unknown. He could be a stud. He could be a dud. We'll have to see where he lands to see how Jake ends up. Best pick, I got Jameis Winston. I should have taken him as one of my Squash Buccaneers. I didn't. We'll get to that in a moment. My ridiculous quarterback 2 selection. Best pick for Jake was Jameis Winston. Worst pick, John Stewart, and the X Factor, DeMarco Murray. And last but not least, we got myself. Strengths here are running back and wide receiver. Running back, got 2 potential running back ones here with Jamal Charles and Doug Martin. Wide receiver, Keenan Allen and Mike Evans, both looking like wide receiver 1s. And Michael Floyd, I think, is poised for a big year. Weakness is tight end. I don't even know if I have a tight end going into week 1, so we'll see what happens there. But that's the weakness on my team as of now. Best pick was Jamal Charles. I think he's in line for a big year. I think he'll be healthy. I think he'll be good to go. And getting him in the second round could be a great value. Worst pick was Ryan Fitzpatrick. Just taking him ahead of guys like Jameis Winston and Kirk Cousins. I really don't know what happened there. I just gotta, I guess, blame it on the booze at that point. Just a poor pick. And Deion Lewis, because he was hurt and then ended up going down, although I was able to salvage some value with that by picking up James White. The X factor is going to be Jamal Charles. Could he stay healthy? Could he be the running back 1 that I need him to be? If so, I got a very good balanced team. Also, Jimmy Graham's another X factor. Is he going to play? Potentially, he could be a great tight end for me, especially with Russell Wilson and that duo. Or he could not play at all, or he could play and not be very effective. So, big X factor, big question mark there, but I got him kind of late, so I'm happy with that value pick right there. So there's the draft recap. There's the video. I'd like to keep doing these videos, so please, anyone volunteer often, and we'll get as many videos in this year as we can. I'd be happy to keep doing them as long as I got people that want to do them with me. All right, so hope you guys enjoyed the draft recap. Anyone actually stuck around this long, good luck.